there, folks, and welcome into today's video. I hope you guys are doing great out there. As always, today we get to do a video on something that I get asked to me a lot, and it's essentially going through my entire watch list, all 41 stocks that I watch daily. And I get folks that ask me these questions all the time, like, what are all the stocks you're tracking and things like that? Not just stocks you own, but stocks you're tracking. And the majority of these stocks actually I don't personally own, or maybe about half of them I don't own or so. However, I track a lot of these stocks either because I'm trying to get insights on certain industries, or because I'm thinking about buying these stocks. And there's going to be several stocks we're going to get into in this video here today that are stocks that I could be buying within the next few weeks or the next few months that I want to share with you guys in this video as well. So this might be a little hidden gem video that I hope you guys really enjoy. All I ask in return is that you smash that like button, and that's literally it, guys. I appreciate you being here as always. So as far as all these stocks, I track them all on the Hungry Bull app, which is obviously an app I'm a huge part of this project, and I'm super excited for it. This is a way you can track your stocks, cryptos, keep up with all the news in relation to your stocks and cryptos, as well as read our daily newsletter, our stories, listen to earnings calls right inside the app. Oh my gosh, there's so much SEC reports. We have so many different things coming down the line. We try to make the app better and better each and every week. And by the way, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's ever left a review, who enjoys this app. We appreciate it in a huge way, guys. We're already at almost 400 reviews on the iOS store, and we just launched like maybe a couple months ago. So that's absolutely amazing. I just want to say thank you to you guys. I mean, that means a lot to us. And believe me, there's a lot of people that are working their butt off behind the scenes that, don't get the credit for, putting this whole thing together. And they're working as hard as possible, and stuff like that means the world to them. Believe me, guys. So appreciate you guys as always. And let's get in these 41 stocks that I keep a track of each day, and why I do. And some of these might be buying soon. Okay. So, right off the bat here, a very good food company, plant-based food company that I'm invested in, excited about for the long term, crazy growth there. I just want them to make better products over time, honestly, that I like more. From my understanding, it does appeal to some folks that have been vegans like their whole life or for a super long time. Me personally, as a traditional meat eater who's gone more plant-based, I feel like they got a lot of work to do as far as their products go. But I do own the stock. I like the stock, and it's just I have to limit my position sizing there, and the growth is crazy. Wynn Resorts, obviously, resort company out here in Vegas, as well as they got property in Boston, or right out beside Boston. They have multiple properties in Macau as well. Obviously, devastated business model in the past year or so. Same thing with Las Vegas Sands. I mean, if you're going to close down travel, guess what? Wynn and Las Vegas Sands are going to be devastated. Those stocks have come back pretty strong. I think Wynn at its lows, was like, I want to say, it might have been $30 a share when the market was really crashing in March of 2020. I think Wynn hit like $30, $40 a share. It was an insane number. It's bounced back pretty strong. It had come back even stronger than that, but then, basically China has been so sketchy recently, and on top of that, you have Rona worry still over there, so it's kind of held back Wynn and Las Vegas Sands in the short term. I own Wynn stock. I do not own Las Vegas Sands, but I like to track the stock. They're basically a more exposed to Asia version of Wynn Resorts, and Wynn Resorts caters a little more to the high end than Las Vegas Sands. Voyager Digital, next one down here. Voyager Digital is my play on cryptocurrencies. I want to be in the picks and shovels business. I'm not a crypto picker. I'm a stock picker, right? And so at the end of the day, if the crypto market expands exponentially over the next 5, 10, 15 years, Voyager's in a really, really strong position there. Never mind all the things they want to do besides being just a crypto brokerage all the time. So, I'm in the picks and shovels business with Voyager. We'll see how that one turns out over the next 5 years or so. Upwork, freelance economy company that I personally own. That company has just done a phenomenal job executing, and it's a stock that I'm a proud shareholder of, and I'm up a ridiculous percentage on it, and I'm planning on just continue to hold those shares. The freelancing economy is not going away, and Upwork's the number one and number two biggest player in that market, depending upon how you want to look at it. Alibaba is a stock I'm tracking here. I don't personally own Alibaba right now. I have owned Alibaba stock in the past, but I do not own it at the moment. I'm keeping track of it. I have so many worries about China. Alibaba, the fundamentals are amazing. The stock looks like a screaming buy, but it's a Chinese-related company, right? And those Chinese companies just are hard to be trusted right now because of what the Chinese government has been doing over there. We've talked about that several times on the channel over the past month or so. And as long as China can just chill, like and stop this anti-business like sentiment they have going on right now, and if they can just fix the trust issues over there. I mean, Bob was a stock that could fly up to 300 in a snap of fingers, but it's China that's kind of holding it back in the end, okay? Tattooed Chef, do I really need to talk about Tattooed Chef? By the way, I put out 2 videos about Tattooed Chef in depth in the past probably 72 hours or so on my main channel. So yeah, I won't even touch on Tattooed Chef, obviously. Huge believer there, as well as Tesla. Huge believer in Tesla over the past several years and done insanely well on that. Tesla, I don't talk about the stock that much nowadays, but I absolutely love it. By the way, Tesla came out and fixed the Model X today. It hadn't been working, and it's because the battery had died. So Tesla came out to the house, fixed it up. Thank you to the individual that came out and fixed that car up. Okay, rocket companies, RKT. So this is not a stock I own. This is a stock I'm contemplating buying. Now, here's the thing with rocket. I am practicing patience when it comes to RKT rocket companies. The reason being is we know the mortgage boom over the past year and a half, as well as the refinance boom, was major. Interest rates went to the lowest they'd pretty much ever been in the United States, and it was an incredible time to do a mortgage or a refinance. And there was one property, I think I did 3 refinancing in the matter of 12 or 18 months, and it was absolutely insane because the rates just kept dropping more and more, and it made sense to refinance and refinance again, right? A company like Rocket benefits massively from that, but think about it, right? They had a huge short-term kind of great push for their business. And now we kind of are starting to have the inverse of that happening. Supply for homes in general, very, very tight in most markets. And then a lot of folks that have wanted to refinance have already refinanced. And so you're not going to get that big mortgage boom or refinancing boom right now. And so that puts Rocket in a tough position for the next couple of years. So I'm practicing patience in Rocket. It is a stock I'm tracking now, and it's a stock I could potentially buy in 2022. I'm just practicing patience in this one, patience. So yeah, the Rocket, absolutely interested. Sprouts Farmers Market's actually a stock that I've been a little interested in. It's a grocery store chain. I never really talk about it. I don't personally own the stock. Smaller grocery store chain in the United States, but expanding. And yeah, I mean, it's one of those that I kind of have on the watch list, and it's one of those that I'm not ready to buy it. But could I see myself buying Sprouts Farmers Market someday? Potentially. Definitely potentially it could be a buy over time. Tapestry. So Tapestry owns Kate Spade, Coach, as well as Stuart Weitzman, and this is a company that competes kind of, let's call it, maybe... They're not like a Louis Vuitton type player, right? They're not selling $2,000, $5,000 purses for the most part. They're not like that type of player. They're catering to more of the upper middle class. And Tapestry is a company that's, I would put in the category of a business model that's going to be here to stay for a long time into the future. And I love it as a dividend play. It's usually a dividend stock. They had to take away their dividends for the short term, obviously, when they went through Rona, like many companies did. And now Tapestry is just set up in a really, really good position. And the numbers, I've been very impressed by the numbers over the last 12 months from that company. Palantir is a stock I own, but I own a very, very small amount of Palantir stock. So when it comes to Palantir, I think this is a company in a prime position for the coming years when it comes to data and artificial intelligence. I don't love the valuation with Palantir. I am a big believer in the business model, and I think the business model is going to be incredibly sticky. I think this is a business model that when mid-sized businesses and large companies use Palantir, I think it's going to be hard for them to switch to anything else. I think longer term, Palantir has an opportunity in the small business market as well, which would open up their TAM in a massive, massive way. It's just, it can't be today. They have too much on their plate, essentially, when it comes to large corporations, Fortune 500 type companies, and then also, let's call them mid-sized companies as well. So Palantir, I like it. I wish I had a bigger position in it, but I don't. Walgreens Boots Alliance, WBA. This is I don't really want to call it a turnaround play because it's not like a company that's super damaged. It's a pharmacy chain. It's a needs-based business model that does amazing. It's a profit machine. It's a cash flow machine. However, they have Roz Brewer that's come in recently at that company. She used to be the COO of Starbucks, and was huge with the digital transformation of Starbucks, getting that company where most of their customers are starting to use the app, right? Delivery, all those sorts of things. She's done an amazing job over there. Now she's the CEO of Walgreens. Before that, she worked at Sam's Club, which is the CEO of Sam's Club, which is owned by Walmart. She's on the Amazon board of directors. You know, a lady that has a lot of connections and a lady that has a lot of, let's call it business intelligence. So huge believer in that one over the coming years. Obviously, you know, a limited upside stock. It's not like one of those stocks that it's like, you know, you can see it 10xing over the next 5 years or something like that. It's just not that kind of stock. However, could Walgreens be like a 2x play? And I also look at it as a safer version of a savings account. That's why I love this stock. And it pays me out 5 figures worth of dividends every 3 months. So every 3 months credited in my account is $10,000+. So I appreciate that. Walgreens Boots Alliance. Corsair Gaming, CRSR, huge believer in this one. Gaming, streaming company over the next several years. Insanely low forward P. Very well-run company. The stock's just a beaten down dog. And, you know, I think this stock is in a prime position to fly high. I think when it shoots off, it's going to be a rocket ship. To predict when exactly this stock is going to shoot off like a rocket, that's what's really hard to predict. It's like, could it be next month? Could it be 3 months? Could it be 6 months? I don't know exactly when, but I can tell you that is like I call it a coiled spring stock, where it is just in prime position to just be a beast. It's just no one knows when the spring's going to go pop, okay? Apple. So Apple, I mean, I got to track Apple. I don't have any position in Apple right now, but it's Apple. Like, it's the biggest company in the world. I got to keep track of Apple and keep an eye on what's going on there. Plus, I own several semiconductor companies. I think 3 semiconductor companies that get significant portions of their revenues and profits from Apple. It's an important stock for me to track. Dropbox is a stock I got in toward maybe the end of 2020, very beginning of 2021. A cloud company, e-signing of documents, kind of what some folks would call a sleepy stock, but it was a sleeper. It's done phenomenal for us. I think it's going to continue to do phenomenal for us. And yeah, I tracked that one. This one, oh yeah, some people are going to be like, what? You track Ford? Actually, you know, I've been interested in buying Ford stock for probably 9 months now, if not 12 months. Ford's actually a stock that interests me. I look at this company, and I'm actually looking at a company that I'm fairly excited about. Obviously, their F-150 lineup is their cash cow, right? Their Raptor lineup on the high-end space does amazingly well. The amount of folks that I know personally that have bought a Raptor in the past 12 months is a pretty large amount. Then I see the electric Ford Mustang SUV. I'm seeing those around Vegas all the time now. So it looks like they're actually going to, move over to the electric side pretty decently. We'll obviously have to see how that continues to play out. And I'm looking at the company. It's been trading anywhere between a $40-50 billion market cap. And yeah, Ford actually, believe it or not, has me intrigued. Have I bought the stock? No. But have I considered it? Absolutely. And I'm going to continue to watch this one. And maybe at some point I make a move in Ford stock. That would be kind of weird, but it's definitely a possibility, okay? Elf Beauty. Elf has treated us tremendously well. We were buying the stock when it was $7, $8 a share. Now it's nearly $30. Cosmetics company, great turnaround play. It's done phenomenal. I continue to track that one, and I still own some shares of that one. Zoom Videos. So Zoom Videos one I started tracking recently. I'm looking into Zoom. What I'm trying to find with Zoom is this going to be more than a one-trick pony? Right now, you look at Zoom, it's a one-trick pony. It's like video conferencing for business. And that's cool. It's a good market. But long-term, is that really a sustainable strategy? Or will their market share get eaten apart from bigger competitors? And that's what I worry about when it comes to Zoom stock. That's why I haven't bought this one yet. But I am tracking it, and I'm trying to figure out, is there a bigger story here? Is there more TAM than just being a video conferencing company? Because I'm not going to pay $70 or $80 billion, whatever the market cap's been at, even though that's fallen dramatically. I'm not going to pay $70 or $80 billion for a company that is essentially a business FaceTime. So moral of the story when it comes to Zoom stock is I'm doing a little more digging there. NIO's not a stock I'm interested in owning, and it's not a stock I'm owning, obviously. And it's a $35 stock, EV player out of China. I just track the stock mainly because there's a lot of people that are interested in that stock. And I also like to see if there's any correlation between Tesla moving up or down on a given day and NIO. I can tell you it used to be a lot of correlation. not so much now. Like for instance, Tesla was up pretty nice today. NIO stock was down. Not a lot of correlation between NIO and Tesla from what I've seen very, very recently. Skyward Solutions, a huge semiconductor company that's just getting bigger and bigger. Big player in the 5G space. Look at the latest teardowns of the iPhones. You're going to find a whole bunch of Skyward Solutions chips in there, and also a dividend stock. Great balance sheet company, phenomenal management team that's just growing the business and growing the business bigger and bigger. Love that one. And I've been an investor of that one for years, plan to continue to be an investor of that one. Pfizer stock. I mean, divvy play, Pfizer. It's Pfizer. Like, I don't even have to explain that one. It is a stock I own in my dividends only account. Cruisy Doozy, semiconductor company that makes audio chips that go into iPhones, iPads, and a lot of other devices out there. The majority of their revenues and profits come from Apple. It's a little bit of a dangerous stock because the majority of their profits and revenues, and when I say majority, I'm talking like 80% of their revenues roughly quarter by quarter come from Apple. And so it's really exciting because when Apple's really strong and Cirrus has new chips coming out, the numbers Cruisy Doozy can put up is phenomenal, and all of a sudden you see the stock 2x, 3x fast. But there's that risk. What if their relationship ever went sour with Apple? Man, that company would be devastated overnight, and that stock price would be UPS. So UPS, not a stock I own, not a stock I'm really very interested in owning unless maybe I bought it as a dividend stock play at some point. I like tracking UPS because this is a stock that's going to tell me how global business is doing. Flat out. Like, I'm going to get a very good understanding of how business is going. If you want to know how the macroeconomic environment's looking for business, track UPS earnings. They're going to tell you a whole lot. Speaking about companies that are going to give you a whole bunch of information about the macroeconomic landscape, Caterpillar, another one of those plays. And they'll give you a lot of information out of China. They have big business in China. Now, Caterpillar. This is a stock that I'm also practicing patience on. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Caterpillar saw a big decrease in its stock price. It has kind of one thing going well for one thing going bad. There's a huge problem in China right now around essentially real estate, potential real estate bubble, which is popping right in front of our eyes, and potentially a situation where Chinese real estate could take a big short-term dip. Obviously, that would hurt Caterpillar in a major way. The company does a good amount of business in China. Now, on the flip side, you could say, well, Caterpillar is a company that is in prime position that if we ever get some major infrastructure package in the United States, which we still need one, it seems like we always talk about that all the time, like for the last probably 10, 15 years now, and we still haven't got that major infrastructure package. Obviously, if we got that, that would be a boost to Caterpillar's business overall. So Caterpillar, hey, maybe at some point I own the stock, but I'm not ready to jump in that one now, especially with what's going on in China. Qualcomm is a stock I own in my dividends only account. Qualcomm is a company that is honestly set to benefit more than probably any semiconductor company out there when it comes to 5G. Like, they just have, Qualcomm's been working on the 5G play for, I remember Qualcomm talking about 5G probably 5+ years ago. Like, they were way ahead of everybody, and now as 5G is starting to take off around the world, Qualcomm is set to benefit as much, if not more, than any other semiconductor company in the world because of 5G. Amazon, I own a small amount of Amazon shares now. I'm hoping the stock falls under 3,000. I would load up some more shares of Amazon. Amazon is just a beast at the end of the day. You're talking about Amazon Web Services, a profit machine. You're talking about, obviously, the online business, which, when does that business stop growing? Like, I don't even know when that day is, but it's so long from now, I can't even imagine it, right? Plus, they own so many other businesses that folks don't know about. They own, obviously, Zappos. They own Whole Foods. They own Twitch. It's amazing. The company's just a phenomenal beast and just gets bigger and bigger and bigger year after year after year. Someday, Amazon won't grow anymore. I don't know when that is. Certainly not in this decade, in my opinion, okay? Facebook, FB, always caught in drama, always a big cash flow machine, always arguably the most relevant company on the face of the earth. I love owning the stock. It's a dramatic stock. You get tons of dips and tons of opportunities to buy the stock, obviously, because there's some negative press comes out. It's just the way it is with that stock. And when you got the type of power Facebook has, and you got one of the richest people in the world leading that company, there's always going to be some headlines around you. Negative, obviously the ones that get the attention, the positive ones, you don't ever see those because it's not attention grabbing. It's always the drama. It's always a problem, right? And that creates dips into the stock price short term. Obviously long term, it will be what it's going to be. TDOC, okay? So, been looking into this company. It's a big play, Kathy Wood. She's been buying a lot of the stock. I think they're getting hit pretty hard on it. But I'm actually very, very interested in TDOC. They did a deal with Lefebvre, late last year. It was like an $18 billion deal or so. The entire TDOC company is trading for $20 billion and some change right now, like less than $21 billion. I'm looking at TDOC, guys, and I'm going to be honest. I'm liking what I see. Now, I have more research work to do. This is a company that, is in the forefront by a mile when it comes to virtual healthcare. And I think they're going to have almost like a monopoly market share on the virtual healthcare market over time. And so TDOC, man, guys, I'm going to say I'm getting bullish on this stock. I got more research work to do on this one. Foot Locker, I love it as a dividend play over time. Obviously they had to take away their dividend in the short term because of Rona, but ultimately Foot Locker is going to be a beast, for years to come in the future when it comes to dividends. And they've done a phenomenal job keeping their brand and their business relevant. FedEx, not a stock I own. I owned in the past. Not interested in owning in the short term, but it is a stock I love to track because just like UPS, it's going to tell me how the global economy is doing. Those executives, when they talk about it on the conference call, what do they talk about a lot? Like what's going on with business, not just in the past quarter, but what do they foresee in the future quarter. So extremely important to keep up with companies like FedEx and UPS. And it's for two reasons. One, you want to know if something bad's about to happen with the global economy or something's brewing. And two, it's going to ease your concerns a lot because a lot of times people are like, oh, could we end up in a big recession, something like that. And it's like, pay attention to UPS numbers, pay attention to FedEx numbers. They're going to tell you a lot about what's going on. Revolve's a stock that we've just done amazing in. E-commerce play in the apparel industry, management team, phenomenal over at Revolve. I'm not a buyer of the stock, but I'm also not a seller of the stock. I just continue to hold my shares, and I'm a proud holder of that stock. JWN, this is a stock we got into last year. And I just viewed it as like an easy, 2x opportunity. And obviously it ended up becoming an easy 2x opportunity. They're a department store, but they compete in the higher end of the market. And they've also done a phenomenal job with their Nordstrom Rack business, which is off price. Also, they've done a phenomenal job building out their business bigger on the online space. So I love Nordstrom. There's a company I think is going to be relevant for a long, long time and grow a lot bigger over time as well. JP Morgan, about the biggest big dog bank you can possibly track. There's another one if you want to know a little bit about the global economy, where we're at. Listen to Jamie Dimon and what he has to say on those earnings calls, or just the executives of JP Morgan in general. On his company, stock I've gotten in very, very recently. I want to continue to build my position big in this stock. Like I would love to have seven figures and honest over time. If this stock stays low enough for long enough, like let's say it stays in the $8 to $9 range for the next 3 to 6 months, there would be enough time for me to likely put in roughly seven figures into this stock. I'm not the type of person that's just going to put it all in one day. I like to buy in batches and on big dips, things like that. And so I'm looking at honest. I love this company for the next several years. They went IPO in the past year. It's been a horrible IPO. The stock did horrible. I looked into the fundamentals of the company. I love what I see. And at $9, or especially if it goes anywhere below $9, like I'm a happy buyer. Give me all the shares in sight. Basically below 10, just give me the shares. Just give me them all, okay? The Planet. Huge player in the Jack Jackson space, just getting bigger and bigger. They're going to have multiple stores opening up Florida in the next year or so. The Superstore out here in Vegas, in my city, is just a beast. They also have experience running their smaller store here in Vegas called AMZN, which I think is going to be really, really important for their Florida strategy because they're going to build smaller format stores at first in Florida. They have their huge Orange County location, which from the boots on the ground there, from what I hear, it's ramping and ramping and ramping. We'll obviously have to see that in the numbers over the next several quarters. But yeah, really excited for the Planet. Plus their own brands. Like no one even talks about their own brands, which is actually, in my opinion, longer term, those owned brands could end up being a bigger business than their retail business. In the short term, the retail business is where the big revenue boost will come from. Longer term, in my personal opinion, the big opportunity will be those owned brands the Planet owns. So I love tracking that stock. Then we have Square stock, a newer stock I started tracking recently. I've obviously known about Square for a long, long time. And shoot, I remember when Square was like, I remember when Square, I think, was less than $20. I think at one point Square was like, I don't know, I want to say like $15 or less than $15. This is years and years ago. But anyways, I've tracked the stock for a long time, but I haven't had it on my watch list until very recently. Been looking at the company. What I'm trying to figure out with Square, they own obviously Cash App, and then they have their huge Square business as well, right? Which is kind of a B2B play. But when it comes to Square, what I'm trying to figure out is this mini PayPal? You know, Square's usually $100 billion or under $100 billion market cap. PayPal's a $300 billion plus market cap. And I'm trying to figure out, is Square that type of play that's going to 3x my money? Is this a miniature PayPal? So Square, I got more work to do there. RealReal added this one back on the watch list recently. This is a potential buy for me over the next few months. I haven't bought it yet, but it's a potential buy. Think about them as essentially like, imagine I have, I don't know, a Birkin bag or, some sort of Louis Vuitton purse or something, and I wanted to sell it. Well, rather than go through eBay, it would actually be better for me to go on something like the RealReal and sell it on there. And so RealReal, it's just a devastating stock. I think it's a buyout candidate. I could see somebody like an eBay maybe buying them out over time. I could see somebody like Amazon buying them out over time. Maybe a Revolve over time. I think that could be really, really intriguing. But the RealReal is just in a tough spot with their stock price. It's a beaten down dog. It's trading at $11, and somebody brought this to my attention today, and I literally added this one to the watch list today. Okay, and it's been a stock I've been tracking, here and there for a while, but haven't actually had on my watch list. Stitch Fix has been devastated. I added this one back to my watch list recently. It was a stock I wasn't too interested in. It was a stock I was interested in the past when it was like a $20, $30 stock. Then the stock went to like $50, $60, $70, $80. Now all of a sudden, recently, it's been dropping like a rock. It's down to 32, and the baby made it back on my watch list. And like the RealReal, another potential buy for me over the next 6 months, let's call it that, especially if these stocks continue to get devastated. Smile Direct Club, a stock I bought very recently with a cost basis in the 4s. This is a highly volatile stock. It's on Wall Street bets. It's a crazy stock, and it will likely remain a crazy stock. AVON Brands is probably my most speculative stock I own, which is a Jack Jackson play. They're selling higher-end products. Higher-end products, that's funny, huh? No pun intended. And a stock I'm just a proud holder of and hope to hold that stock for years to go in the future. And they've put up some amazing revenue growth. And I hope Norton and the team just continue to expand that company in a massive way over the next 5-10 years. And if they do that, I'm going to make a crazy amount of money on the stock. If they don't and it just becomes a floundering stock, then it will probably be stuck as a 30 cent to 50 cent stock for years to go in the future. So, it's definitely one of the highest, if not the highest, risk reward play I actually have in the market of AVON Brands there, okay? Hope you guys enjoyed this video as always. Don't forget to download the Hungry Bull app on your iOS and Android store now, guys. It's absolutely free to do so. Hope you enjoy that. And for everybody that ever leaves us a review for it, that loves the app, we appreciate it in a massive, massive way. We also have a free 7-day trial going on for the private stock group in my private Discord chat right now. If you're interested in that and you want to take advantage of that free 7-day trial, check out the pinned comment down there. We only got a few spots left, guys. Best of luck applying there, and have a great day.